Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and beyond. Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Knights of the Sound Table podcast, episode 2, Raw and Uncut. Ladies and gentlemen, I am glad to bring everybody together today. We're going to slowly go through our introduction so everyone can know who is here and whose perspective is clear. So I will start with the order in my call. Dev, our specialist for recording today and one of my very close friends. Dev, go ahead and take your introduction away.
Hello, guys. It's me again, Devil, the guy recording the podcast for today. As I said last time, I am not actually a D&D player, but I am a D&D enjoyer and observer. I also like to help with a little bit of the stuff around the server and with the previous and future projects. I dabble in a little bit of this and dabble in a little bit of that, but I'm mostly here on the podcast.
Hey, we appreciate all the dabbling you do. A dab here and a dab there makes everything easier. You know what I mean? I swear. And your help is insurmountable. Thank you for being a part of the works here. And thank you for introducing yourself. Seriously. So instead of doing the whole dice roll thing, I'm just gonna go in the order I call you on. Maybe next week we'll do a dice roll, but I'm feeling wild. We're raw, we're uncut. We're not worried about the particulars today, baby. All right, Ghostface, my man. If you would, please introduce yourself and some bits about the I'm sorry about that, various characters you play.
Hey guys, I'm Ghostface. I'm an alcoholic. Um, I play as a warlock, and I enjoy playing as a warlock. I like being the more of a smart-ass type person when it comes to it. So yeah,
Sounds like a solid plan. I get a kick out of watching you play a warlock, and I've also seen you play a character that can put the firepower out when necessary, especially when it comes around. So it has been interesting watching you bring those characters to life. And we're going to hear
thank you,
some
thank you.
stories about that today. Thank you for your introduction. Following the next person on the overlay. And your number came up early. Cody. Cody Rose of Cody Rose Studios is one of our wonderful players and one of the admins and artists that helps us with some of our content. Cody, go ahead and take away with your introduction, and we'll just see how it goes.
Hi guys, I'm Cody. I run Cody Rose Studios. I'm a pretty, cool individual. I do a whole bunch of stuff, animation, artwork. I'm not the moment though. Anything like that. Yeah. So that's a bit about me.
And we're honored you shared a little bit. Your work for animation and art is helping us to find some new footage, and I cannot be more thankful any day that you decided to put in effort. Thank you. Thank you for the time you put in. And thank you for being a part of things here. Next up on my lineup, the wonderful Jack Blackman, otherwise known as Warlord of Gondor. Warlord, please go ahead and take away your introduction and tell us a little bit about you and the characters you play.
Hello there. I am Warlord of Gondor, as he so stated. I am a TikToker, YouTuber, and I think at this point, part-time voice actor. So I've got my work cut out for me here. I play Jack Blackman in Interstellar Dystopia, and I also play Allie Taylor in the Evernight Saga. So Allie is a rogue, and Jack Blackman is a fighter gunslinger. So I've kind of got both ends of the spectrum here, kind of polar opposites. But I do have a good time, and I enjoy doing these kinds of things. And if it weren't for Shade here, I definitely wouldn't be doing something like this. So I appreciate you, man. I really do.
I appreciate you being a part of the stories and bringing your characters to life. If it wasn't for some of the adventures you've given with Jack and Allie, some of our players wouldn't even begin to know where they would need to be going for our adventures. So seriously, thank you for helping to lead the pack and being a part of all of the wonderful stories we're crafting. They
Of
wouldn't be what
course.
they were without you. Next up on my list for those willing to do their introductions and tell us about themselves, the wonderful Norun, one of our more recent players to one of my campaigns. They also go by Fred and some other names, but I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about them. Nor, go ahead and take the stage.
Howdy. Uh, my character is Norun, but I'm Fredbear Eli 101 on most of my socials. Some people call me Fred, some people call me Eli, and there's the occasional person that calls me Spiral. I am a voice actor, so you'll hear a lot of me doing that in the campaigns. So That's all I really
That
have
is
to say.
perfect. Thank you for telling us a little about yourself, though, because literally doing voice acting, being a part of the games here, doing your little bit of interest, and obviously from your name, you have a little bit of a fascination with Five Nights at Freddy's, if I could quote the understatement. But it's a good thing, though, because for every fanship that gets connected, you find more and more amazing friends. And if it wasn't for that fanship, I wouldn't have found you. So thank you for being willing to be a part of our adventures and helping to bring your talents to everything we're working on.
But of course,
Last but certainly not least, a very, very good friend of mine who's just recently re-entered some of the scenes around here, and someone I can't wait to give their chance to talk to the world. If you would, Tyrus, otherwise known as Fen, take the stage and tell the world a little bit about yourself.
Hello, you woman weeps. My name's Content Doodle, voice actor, editor of all kinds, D&D player, and co-worker and friend of our Goodwill Shade here. I like people, so I'm hoping you like me. And that's the end of my intro.
Man, often a few words, but incredibly important whenever he speaks. Seriously, Fen, thank you for literally finding me through the shades of the dust of how things were and coming to be part of how things are now. I'm hoping we can show you a whole new realm of entertainment, and you're helping us to find it each step of the way. Thank you.
Just happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is our second episode dictate. We are starting to get into some more fun topics. So I will start with our first one of the day. The D&D discussion to start things off is worst things a player has done near you. Whether you have been the DM, you have been the player, you have been a person listening to a podcast much like this one, and just kind of experiencing some of the, ooh, that's gotta hurt, or that is really messed up situations. I want to hear them from you guys. Share with me your stories from around the table, or how you've been involved in situations where you've heard these moments around the table. We'll start with Devil. I know that you don't play a lot of D&D yourself, and you've already stated that you kind of are adjacent to most of its media. But due to being in the background of some of our games, talking with some of our other friends, I'm sure you've heard some pretty interesting things. So tell me, what are some of the most unusual, strange, or just downright ugh moments you've seen happen around the table?
Now, I actually went back a little bit further than in my D&D history than like the whole thing that happened before this, because even further back past that, when I really didn't even know what D&D was, they had regular D&D sessions at my high school on Fridays after school in the library. And I remember being in the library reading a book on psychology, because I was actually a really big psychology nerd. And I just so happened to look over, and while this kid was looking at this piece of paper, I don't know if it was a character sheet, I don't know if it just had all the lore on it, I don't know if it was a cheat sheet. All I saw him doing was picking the shit out of his nose. Like, this motherfucker was digging. No, this motherfucker was excavating for some gold, bro. I feel like he could have fit another finger in there if he really tried hard enough. Like, and all the while, nobody paid him any mind. They were all nose deep in something else. And this one kid he was going at it. He looked like he just bought the new drill on the market to fucking start picking his nose with. He was in there, and I'm telling you, I don't know if he ever came out, because I saw that. I checked out my book and I just left. Like,
Oh, man.
I got the hell out of there.
Was his name Husqvarna? I mean, because it sounds like he was really trying to root in there. My God, not sponsored, but man, oh man, that is strange. So you can't remember if it was like a character sheet or anything. Just you knew it was kind of like D&D related. And
No,
you're just
I
this kid is
know it
just
was D&D.
going ham.
I know it was D&D, because that was what they were. I asked somebody what they were doing before I went and did my book stuff. They're like, "Oh, it's just D&D," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay, so just like the weirdest situation possible, just adjacent to D&D. Like that is right in the category, man. You nailed that right on the ball. Out of curiosity, like you say you were kind of reading into psychology. Do you remember what you were reading at that time? Like, was it like a study paper on how psychology functions?
It was
like, established
it
book
was
by
kind of
established
like
psychologists?
a book. It was a book on psychological disorders, like kind of like a dictionary. It was literally a dictionary of psychological disorders. And I was
Oh.
reading through what PTSD was, right as this event decided to unfold before me.
You literally were like PTSD looked up in real life. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm sorry you kind of had that happen though. Seriously.
I mean, it didn't affect me physically, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. But like, it was just how this guy was in his nose. And again, I was in high school. This guy had to be like over the age of 15 doing this.
Oh man, that's a new achievement unlocked, and I'm not quite sure what to title that. How about we call that the Ultra Miner?
That's valid.
Sound
That's very
table
fair.
achievement unlocked. The Ultra Miner lives. Oh no. Uh, maybe one day in the future you'll find this gentleman, and then just who knows? Maybe they cured cancer or something.
Oh, jeez.
that'd, be,
I hope they
that'd be
didn't
an
find
interesting
what he
conversation,
cured
wouldn't it?
cancer with inside his nose.
You and me both. You and me both. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that, man. Oh my God. Celestia, you're next one up on deck. If you would please share with me some unusual moments from around the table. Something that either left an imprint with you, something that was just so off the cuff and it just didn't quite maybe feel right. Something that maybe even gave you the, and I know I'm going to sound old here, but quote unquote, the ick. Boo, fossil using references. Boo.
I got you. Okay. So excuse if there's any weird background noises because I am out in public. Um, so here is a story from one of the D&D sessions I'm in, and this was really interesting to say the least. So I mean, I kind of accidentally insinuated this. But I was with some friends one time. We were doing a D&D session, and I was introduced to this character. And one of the first things the GM kind of said to me was that she kind of like sexualized the character. And it was very weird for me because I was like, oh, one of the main characters is being like severely sexualized. Like, that's kind of weird, you know? And then she continued like on with the story to be like, to add kind of like seductive and like suggestive content um into the game, and I just found it really weird and it was uncomfortable. So yeah, that's what I got.
I'm sorry you felt so uncomfortable. Normally, D&D is meant to be a vessel for adventure, communication, and a chance to experience. And unfortunately, there can be moments where the experience isn't great. I don't know if that
I
person will
mean,
ever take the opportunity to apologize for you, but I am sorry that you had to go through that.
they did apologize afterwards because it was okay. I accidentally made a comment about the character, and it was just because, I was joking around about it. Like, I wasn't taking it seriously, and I feel like they took the situation like way too seriously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Still rough that you had to go through that, and I am very, very sorry for the amount of undue stress that may have put on you. D&D can be fun, and unfortunately, there are moments where you can take it to the adult line and it cross some barriers. This is why I, as a DM, try not to introduce romance or anything of that nature into my games, aside like stated comments or small off-screen kind of like fade to black moments. Nothing of a graphic nature. That's not necessary.
Yeah.
Romance is better expressed through the moments of care than by graphical nature, if you pardon the expression.
Yeah.
So
No.
this might be a bit of an odd question, but how long did it take you to kind of recover from the experience? Like, was it more like you were young, so it was easier to shrug that off, or did that leave an imprint with you permanently?
No, this actually happened very recently to me, like earlier this year, and the person continues to kind of do it till this day. They still apologize about it, and they're like, "Oh, it's part of the character," but I'm like, "Oh, it's not really a part of the character anymore." Also, I'm sorry, but I have to excuse myself for a few minutes.
It's perfectly all right. Thank you for being willing to share some perspective, and hopefully you'll return to us so we can hear some more later. But thank you for taking those few moments and sharing a little bit of the, while not great experience, still an experience that you had and the impact that it left on you. Next up on my lineup for today, Ghostface. If you would, do tell us something unusual you've experienced when it comes to D&D. Could be good, could be bad, could be really, really rough. I want to hear about those moments that might have slipped between the cracks.
Well, same thing happened to me back in high school, but the guy wasn't digging into his nose. We had a little section in high school where we had like the band geeks, the nerds, and everything at. They had their own little spot. So during lunch, I usually hung out by the library, and I was into D&D, but nobody really noticed it because the way I dressed, the way I act. I acted like a cholo basically growing up, and I dressed the part, baggy pants, big shirts. So you would never think I was into D&D. So during lunch, I'm walking towards the library because I have school projects that I have to do, and one of my research project was video games. So a couple of my friends and I were just walking, and we see this individual that we know he's into D&D because he cosplays the entire time in high school. He has his elf ears. He has a whole long tunic, and we just see his hand going up and down, and we all just pause because we know who he is, we know what he does, and
No.
yes,
No, it can't possibly be what I just imagined. Please tell me I'm
yes,
wrong.
yes. No, no.
Oh, the stage is
Yeah,
yours. Oh.
yeah. He was in there, and he was how how can I put it in a normal terms? But this is raw and uncut. He was choking the chicken like there was no fucking tomorrow.
Concerning.
Yes,
Oh, I've heard of immersive gaming, but I think that's getting a little too into the mind of the character, if you ask me.
yeah, yeah, and nobody fucking stopped
Hmm.
them. It was that glance where like you kind of make a quick glance. You're like, wait, what the fuck? And you look again. You're like, oh shit.
As I heard once said to me before, seasons fiendings and happy fapping, I suppose, but no, not around these parts. We won't. Oh man. What was that? What was coming upon a scene like that like? Like as a third perspective, like you're minding your own business, and then that. What did that leave something with you? Like, did it like leave a reason to like be aware of something? Like, what did that leave for you in that experience? I'm curious.
That kind of made me stop wanting to do D&D because I was into D&D, but not as hardcore that I am now. But he was like extreme, and I mean extreme to the point where I'm like, okay, he's gonna give D&D players like a bad reputation. I don't want to be a part of this community anymore.
He
So
gave himself a
for
bad reputation. Ooh.
yeah, he did. So I stopped playing D&Ds from 2011, and I just got back into it last year, the end of last year.
Interesting. What managed to bring you back after such a long time, and maybe even a negative stigma caused by such a bad influence? Like, what drew you back into the game? I'm curious.
I will talk to my friends about it. Well, my coworkers, I'm like, I'm into D&D. I don't look like the part, but I am into D&D. And one of my coworkers, she goes, "Well, I'm a DM. I would love for you to be part of my session." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I haven't played since 2011." She goes, "That's fine. Fuck it, make your own character." And my original character was a tiefling. He was a warlock, and I'm like, "Okay, cool." I got fascinated into drows. So I'm like, what if I make a drow warlock, or what if I make a tiefling warlock again? Well, fuck it, I'm gonna combine both. So I asked her, and she goes, "Well, normally that's not allowed, but you wanna fuck it, I'll allow it."
Okay. There's
So she
nothing
got
wrong
me
with a
back in.
DM that's willing to bend the rules.
Yeah, so she got me back into it. Because she texted me right away the day after I told her. She goes, "Sessions at this time. Bring sodas. We're gonna DM. Well, we're gonna D&D. We're gonna get fucked up. We're gonna have fun."
I mean, that is of all the ways I could think of trying to market D&D to somebody that's a full-grown adult, like we're going to make a bunch of decisions that you're going to feel a marginal amount of enjoyment after, and you're going to have fun. I could see worse ways to convince someone. You said a phrase though, and pardon me for my perhaps my lack of worldly knowledge, but what exactly is a quote unquote cholo? I believe you pronounced it.
It's pretty much a Hispanic gangbanger, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it kind of like
Yeah.
describes a set of attire, basically.
Yeah, so if you go on Google, you type up
Okay.
cholo, it'll show you like the guys wearing baggy dicky pants, big Raider jerseys, Chuck Taylors or Converse, as normal people will call them,
Oh,
buzz cuts. Pretty much, if you've seen the movie Blood In and Blood Out, American Me, um, Training Day, pretty much anything that has to do with um, gangster movies, that's a perfect example. And The Watch, there we go.
oh.
That's a perfect example of it.
Oh, okay. I've seen a couple of these different films, so I understand what you're referring to. I never knew that there was a term for it, though. But I appreciate you teaching me that. I never never knew that there was a way to describe that. Interesting.
Yeah,
Fascinating. You
and what's
literally do
funny
learn
is
something new every day.
Yeah, and what's funny is that the outfit that I just described is pretty much what I dress like because I still wear baggy clothes. I still wear big Raider jerseys because I'm a diehard Raider fan. Um,
Respect.
but like I look the part, but you'll look at me, you think, oh, he's a gangbanger. But once you start talking to me, it's like, okay, you're not who you say you are.
That's all right. Appearances can often be deceiving. A person is not necessarily built to be interested or looking like they wear something to be interested in something. A phenomenon that I deal with is color blindness. I'm achromatoptic, so I don't see any color at all. But it's not like I wear any special corrective glasses or walk around with a stick, so it's not like I look blind. People tend to forget that type of a thing. So I could see where that would be easily like absorbed into the social conscious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating concept, though. Thank you for sharing it. And also, mad respect to the Raiders. They may not be my team, but anybody that chooses to support a sport of some kind, hey, more power to you. So there you go. There. Um, Jack, aka Warlord, you're my next one up on the line. So do tell me some unusual things that may have happened around the table, whether you've been the player or whether you've been watching a podcast or something that stuck out to you. I want to hear about your experiences with the less than savory or the less than normal.
Well, there's one thing that comes to mind, and it's something that a lot of DMs don't encourage, especially, and we kind of ran into that yesterday. um, is player versus player combat, PvP combat. There's a reason that it doesn't go on, and this was literally the perfect example. There were two guys. This is the story that I heard. There were two guys that were playing. One was a barbarian, another was a sorcerer. And the actual characters got into an argument. And so the DM just kind of rolled with it. Like he just wanted part of it I think was he just wanted to see what would happen and how things would go. Um of course it wasn't going to be permanent if one guy was actually taken out. Anyway, so long story short, after a whole bunch of shit talking, the barbarian took out the sorcerer like he was nothing. And of course, thankfully, there was a cleric to revive, but still, it was a very bad situation because at the end of the session, the sorcerer said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to play anymore. And two, I don't think I'm going to do that again.
Yeah, I can understand the reasoning behind both responses there. One is I have been traumatized, and the other is, oh no,
And
my will to play. It's
what's funny
broken.
is he's the one that started it.
Those who often argue the loudest bluster the most. Okay, this is something that is proven of most people that play D&D, especially when they're young. To get part of my literally tripping over words here, but the concept of taking an argument in and out of a game is such an unusual one to me that I literally trip over my perspective trying to envision it. Just I don't have that as a DM and as a player. If there's a conflict that has happened in the game, that's a universe. That's in itself. That's an isolated event. If I have a problem with a person that's outside of the game, that problem stays outside of the game. I don't bring it into the game. That's not professional. Nor is that a good environment for playing a game. So to me, that's a very strange concept. But you experienced it. What was that like? Sitting, like listening to the story about this, like you experienced the moment hearing about this. What was it like hearing that? The hearing of a potential friends want to play a game killed by such a uh, let me
He
just
was
call it
being
what it is, a
petty.
shit situation.
It was just the guy playing the sorcerer just being petty is really all it was, and he got what he got in the end. I thought it was hilarious because it's like this guy, at the end of the day, it was just like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna play this game anymore. Like he was dropping out of the campaign, and he was just done. Like it was just, I mean, it's like you're you're literally allowing it to happen. The DM's like, oh yeah, that's totally okay, you know, and it's one of those things. I feel like that, you know, the DM kind of made the right call. Not gonna lie, he let it happen. He let it work itself out, and the sorcerer left. You know, the guy playing the sorcerer was done. And it's like you don't do that. That is the main reason why you don't do that, because people will leave pissed off. You know, and it's just, and that's, and the kind of situation that we had yesterday, the little spat. I feel like, yeah, it was all in good fun, but at the same time, I feel like it would have been a similar situation if you kind of let it happen. As
Exactly.
to who would
And you'll
leave
find
pissed
me
off, I couldn't tell you.
exactly. And now you're starting to understand something I learned a long time ago. DM. If you allow the negative behaviors of a person to bloom and bluster and push forward, they will always take the negative route. If you give hatred an opportunity to grow, people will just take action because they're angry. Heat of the moment is the worst reason to make a decision. Now, I understand that you kind of agreed with why the DM made their choice in that sense. I'm going to take devil's advocate here. I do not agree with what that DM did. If that DM had chosen to say, hey, this argument does not come to the table. If you can't agree, don't play. That might have salvaged the situation and taught them a new protocol for how to treat each other moving forward, how to find some common ground and mutual respect, and also respect the situation and read the room. Nobody else needs to be involved in your argument with someone. Other players don't necessarily want all the stress of what you don't agree with. So, finding that balance, hard line. I take a hard line about players doing in-game combat against each other, unless it is necessary for a story. Which, mind you, if the players come to me and go, "I want to cripple my character for 3 months. Can I do that willingly?" and the other players agree to it, then that's a story decision. That's okay. But if somebody walks in, "Hey, me and my girlfriend got in an argument. I'm going to take it out on the barbarian." No, that is toxic as fuck.
Right.
And I can't support toxic behavior. I really can't. That's what ruins fanships. It's what ruins entire cultures and communities. So I try to nip that shit out like cancer. But man, I couldn't imagine letting a situation like that unfurl on the table. Like that's like willingly letting a bar brawl happen, and you're the bartender going, "Eh, not my problem. I just sell the liquor." you know?
I mean, yeah, in all seriousness, though, I mean, I feel like they could have handled it differently, but I just thought it was hilarious because it's like this guy wanted to start a fight. He got what he got. And he got put on his ass, and he didn't like it, and he just decided he was done. It's like you're the one that wanted to initiate the fight. You're the one that wanted to start it. The DM was just letting it happen, just kind of curious, honestly. But it was just, the DM could have handled it differently, yes. But it kind of made for a pretty funny story, honestly. And it kind of made me realize that is exactly why you don't do PvP in D&D.
Oh yeah. Tr- Tragedy can bring absolute beautiful mirth and comedy, but it is built from bad moments first. So it is kind of like that tainted love kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get you entirely. Thank you for sharing that. Seriously. Whew, what a situation to be in. DM letting an argument open on the table and not just literally causing a player to walk away from the fandom. That is whew, glad it didn't happen to you personally. Just gonna call that out like it is. Uh, next up on my list of individuals to tell us some stories about today, Norun or Fred. Fred, what do you got for me? What kind of unusual moments have you seen around the table? Whether it's been listening to a podcast, sitting at the table yourself, playing, maybe having some DM experience. What have you got?
Nothing while I was the DM, but there was this one. I have two different things I want to talk about. Uh,
Please.
there was this one time uh, at a different high school. I'm not in high school anymore, but when I was at a different high school than around where I live, I watched someone break up at the fucking table during the game. That was an interesting experience.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I want to make sure I understand that full sentence of words because you had a group of people in a romantic relationship break up mid-game?
Yeah. Well, not a group. It was a few people, but
Please tell me the full story. Well, even if
I,
it's two people, there's a group that plays D&D, the couple's in it. Tell me
yeah,
what the hell happened.
I don't remember exactly what happened. I can say what I remember.
What you remember is more than enough because we know the human memory can sometimes be a little bit folly, but 75% of the
Well,
facts is
yeah,
enough for us to get to most of the story.
especially because this was like 3 years ago.
Makes sense. Please do tell us what you can recall at least.
I don't remember what their classes were. I do remember they fought at the table, not the characters. They didn't bring that to the characters. They didn't fight as the characters. They understood that much. I do know they were fighting about something in real life. It would have been funny if it was something in the game, but that's because I have a twisted sense of humor. Genuinely don't remember much, but it was an interesting experience. I remember being like, what the hell? Can we just play the game?
I'd imagine so. If that's your first experience, remembering that a couple broke up in the middle of a session, like what would the second experience you wanted to tell us be like?
My player character being an asshole to the DM. You see, me and the other
Oh,
people, not actually an asshole, but what? I'll explain. Don't worry.
please do. My DM senses are already feeling the pain. Please tell me.
So you see, the DM made the mistake of giving me an item that raised my 18 AC to 20, while we had a paladin in our group. You want to guess what my ending AC was at that because of a different item as well?
Oh no, what'd you do? 30 AC somehow?
An AC of 24.
Only 6
You want to know
points
who was the
off, but
barbarian?
that's who.
Me.
Oh, a barbarian with a 24 AC.
You
No.
want to know who the who the BBEG was forced to fight?
Oh.
Me.
How bad did you troll the DM in this case? If you've what did you do? How did you make this person that brought you this wonderful story look at you and go, "You are a dick"?
Oh no, he didn't say that. He was a good sport about it. We were all good sports. But it's the fact the BBEG couldn't attack anyone else because I was the closest to him. And with how the big bad evil guy was written, he attacks who's closest. I was
I
not
was gonna say
even
you didn't
10
use
feet
goad,
away from him.
so you weren't using a goading stance or anything. It's just the way that the entity was actually written.
Yeah, he had no choice
Oh,
but to attack me
oh,
while I attacked back, and he he had to land a 19 or a 20, both natural or unnatural, uh,
that
every time to be able to
okay.
hit me. You want to know what he didn't?
Oh gosh, I can only imagine. It's at that moment where the DM looks at the character, looks at you, looks at the character, looks at you, and inside the gears are just grinding to a halt. Oh,
He got a nat 20 once. Most of the hits
man,
did not
that
hit me.
I can understand why. You know, I can kind of
Uh,
understand why. There are some creatures that I just created that don't even
that's
have
not
an
even the
AC in that.
best part.
Oh no! All right,
You see,
Mister
the best
Chaos
part
Gremlin,
was
what
our
is it?
ranger would climb me like a fucking tower to shoot from.
AC at 24 beanpole that can't get smacked around, and you've got a rogue on top. Did the entity never try to attack the rogue with the fact that they were on top of your shoulders?
It technically, because he was on top of my shoulders, he was farther away.
That is the thinnest excuse I've ever heard in D&D yet when it comes to that. Oh my.
Well, no, it's
Who was
because
the DM?
it's because he wasn't forward on my shoulders. He was backwards, technically behind me. He was by technicality behind me.
You can hear my own hamster grinding to a halt on this wheel as I hear this explanation. Oh, oh, oh no.
The
Oh,
DM
oh,
agreed to this. The
no.
DM agreed to that That's not something
Well,
I
there's
brought
the
up. The DM said that. The DM agreed to that.
first and the second mistake. Yeah, there's the first and second mistake. The DM let it happen, and then the DM watched it happen. There was mistake 1 and
Please,
2, and
the
how they
DM's
happened
the
in
one
that
that
order.
gave me the 2 items that rose my AC, and then we just happened to have a paladin.
No, there's no happen to. That was calculated. You had the item. You looked at the paladin and go, "I'm going to ruin the DM's day," and that's
No, I'm not
exactly
even the
what
one
you
that thought
did.
of this. The paladin's the one that thought of that, of raising my AC.
Oh, why does the paladins always have to ruin a good thing? I swear.
No, it's
I'm
because
kidding. I'm
it was
kidding.
the last game of the year.
Oh, okay. So you guys just kind of went all out.
Yeah. You want to know who rolled a lot of nat 20s that day?
Wasn't me.
You weren't the DM, so no. No. I rolled
No.
off the top of my head, I rolled like 4 nat 20s.
Jeez. That's
You wanna know
impressive. I
you wanna
haven't
know what
rolled
my
that
weapon
many.
was?
What did you have?
I had an axe that did lightning damage.
Thor's axe. Basically. Okay.
The
Okay.
best part was the character was wearing Nightmare Fredbear's bottom jaw. Because the
The
DM let
best
me do
part
that.
of D&D is infinite customability. As
The
my
best part of
soul feels
D&D
pain.
is the DM let me do shit that he shouldn't have.
I'm feeling the pain. I'm
You're
feeling
welcome.
the pain.
Don't worry.
Oh,
Don't worry. I'm gonna be nice to you. I'm not gonna pull any of that with you.
you say this as literally the background. All of your secret plans are hiding there like Stewie Griffin's. Like, I'm going to plot the DM's demise.
Well, there's a
It's
reason I'm
going to
being
be
nice.
lovely.
Starting off as what is essentially a warlock.
Oh God.
I want to be
Oh
nice
man.
at the beginning.
I had to. I don't think I've ever been mentally punched in the head by a set of instances in D&D as quite as interesting as that one. So you literally got me with a 1-2 combo. It took me a second to process. Oh man, thank you for
You're
sharing that,
welcome.
Fred. Oh,
You're welcome.
now I know. I know what I'll be on the lookout for in the future. If I see any sneaky shenanigans with a hey, your AC's going up, I'm like, wait a minute, my radar's up. Instant sus.
I need to make
God,
sure he
thank you.
can't raise his AC.
I got to make sure he stays exactly how I built him. No. Oh God. Okay, getting this
Don't
wonderful
worry. I
fun wagon
promise.
back
I won't make the Doomslayer. I promise.
immediately proceeds to D&D Beyond to create Doomslayer. I hear you.
No,
I
you
hear
also
you.
have to remember that I do plan to run a campaign, which you can be a player in.
That is, if I ever had a moment in my schedule that I'm not already taxed to the wall and beyond, I will consider it absolutely. At the moment, I have nailed tighter to a tree than J-Lo. J-Lo in the winter. Yes, Jello in the winter. Yeah, J-Lo went to the tree. Okay, ain't gonna be shaking nothing. Oh man.
Well, it's
I'm
gonna
sorry.
take me a while to get everything done anyway. So
I understand. I'm still getting my brain just a little bit unscrambled from that last instance. Hold on a minute. Let's see if I can get this fun, wonderful machine back on track. Tyrus, if you would you tell me a couple of instances you've experienced of unusual things about D&D, whether it's been good, bad, right, or wrong, the good, the bad, or even the ugly? I'm curious what you've experienced.
Well, I really only have one. This is like back when we were working on the Big G project. Uh, I haven't been playing with D&D for long. I've been under at least 5 games, under at least 5 sessions. Uh, but this moment happened like year back. Bismo, you should remember this. I got bonked on the head while we were fighting. Actually, no, we just got done fighting a Wendigo. I got bonked on the head. I forgot by who. And
Oh,
we
wait a
were
minute. Was that
near.
when my character got drugged into like a shed and then was eaten? Is that
Yeah,
that same
yeah,
session?
it's back
Okay,
then.
I'm familiar. Oh, please take the stage and tell me. I just wanted to make sure I had the thing.
um, as we were getting our loot from the presumed dead Wendigo that we were fighting, which we did big damage to, big damage. And it was like a sand cutter versus styrofoam, basically. And one of the players had bonked me on my head around a river near a gorge, so it was and when I got bonked on the head, I got really dazed. And before she bonked me on my head, I had to for a dexterity check. and you won't guess what I rolled. Want to take a good old guess?
Got to be a guaranteed 20 or 19 in order to make that pull. So you had to have rolled high.
No, I rolled very low. Very low.
Oh no!
Take a random guess at what number I rolled.
Did you roll the dreaded one?
I may have rolled the dreaded one.
Oh no! My worst
In
enemy
my
that comes up in every campaign I play. The one.
and my head fell on a piece of the Wendigo that was left behind after it ran away. And while everyone was still processing my sudden death, one of the Wendigo's black tentacles came from the darkness and dragged my corpse into the forest because apparently it was still alive and still lurking around us. And
Wow.
we didn't ever like continue the campaign. It's still like there, just sitting there. But the DM told me that next time that we would play the campaign, which will probably be Nether, uh, I would be the Wendigo.
Well, you're always free to reach out to that DMC if they want to kind of revive things around here. You know, we're always looking for more people interested in doing stuff.
Yeah,
But goodness, you really did go through a lot through that session, didn't you?
yeah. I was always getting cooked every second. I didn't even get any good damage on any of the monsters.
Sheesh.
But yeah,
Oh
that's my
man, that is. ah, Dude, I'm so sorry you rolled that one. That is such a. It's pain, isn't it? It is a different type of pain when you're depending on anything above that, and it's just snake eye. They say it's one ring to rule them all. I think it's one fuck to give because as soon as you roll it, you have none left.
Yeah.
I freely call it.
I hated that entire session. I was the first to die. I died so early. There were only two.
Oh,
There were like 8 of us, and there were like 2 of us left after the session ended.
pardon me for the joke, but did you become the red shirt from Star Trek? First one on the battlefield, done.
Oh my god! I'm sorry, I don't get that reference. I don't watch that much Star Trek.
Okay, long story short, if you ever decide to watch it, anybody that's in a red shirt is basically flagged for death. It's an ongoing trope.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Cannon
terrible.
fodder.
It's basically anyone in a red shirt's cannon fodder. There's even jokes online like, "Oh man, I gotta sign a red shirt. I'm gonna die. I didn't sign up for this.
Maybe at least
Enterprise,
get
more
a
like
blue or
enterprise, my
yellow
ass away.
shirt. Maybe at least get a blue or a yellow shirt, please.
Please give me something. Maybe macrame. I'd like velour. Something. Anything." That's great. That's great. Oh goodness. All right, we made it through our first topic of conversation for the day. We will move on to our second one. Holy crud. We have been having some fun sharing these not so great stories. Maybe we could turn it around with some good stuff. Positivity versus negativity when creating something. Maybe I spoke too soon. Okay, so here's the concept I want to throw at you guys, and we'll take it one at a time. Positivity versus negativity in the creation and the creativity process. What helps you to make something? Is it a moment of you're feeling inspired, you're feeling peaceful, you're feeling right, like in the flow state, or do you do better during a destructive mindset? When you're feeling less than happy, do you create? When you're feeling stressed, do you build? Like, is it a reflex to do? So we'll start with Dev. Dev, do you do better in the positive mindset when you're trying to create something or in the negative mindset? Because there is something to be said about those who work on both sides of the line.
When I create things, typically I'll be in the positive mindset, but uh, occasionally I can drift to like the negative mindset. I can go there. I can get to that point where negativity can be the bane of my creation's existence. But typically, I'm positive. I find that a positive mindset and positive ideas lead to a positive outcome, but not all outcomes need to be positive. Especially when you want like a plot device in your story, like you might want to start with a negative rather than a positive, because if you start with a positive, then it's gonna be a plot device, but you're already gonna know it's gonna have a happy ending. And I am a fan of never ending it on a good note, unless I really want to end it on a good note. That's where my pure positive storytelling comes from. I'll start a story nice, maybe it'll get a little dark, but it'll end good. Like how the knight always gets the princess in the end of the story. But occasionally, just because of my own ideas on good and bad, I'll have the villain be the victor of a story just for there to be a second part. It kind of stems from not wanting to end a story, but that typically always starts negative when it comes to my creation.
I see. So the kind of desire to keep the story ongoing is what drives you to make these looping events to kind of build into the next narrative point, right? I can see that. I can definitely see that. But it's more from a positive perspective that you build from versus the negative, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Just make sure I fully understood what you were saying there. All people have their various blends of what is good and what is bad and how they work with it. So, like in perspective, if you've been working from that positive mindset and you're having a day where it's very hard to be positive, what do you do to find that positive vibe again? To get, that little recharge of creativity juice that you need.
Whenever there is a negative and I need a positive, I'll usually find it in music or gaming. I'll most definitely find it in gaming unless I'm competitive gaming, in which I will not find it too quickly. But usually music. Music is always it's gonna be a better day once I start listening to music. Like I remember my days driving to class and I'll be like, oh my god, I have to fucking present my goddamn essay. I have to do all that shit and I have to remember what I wrote for this and that. Patty whack, give it a little hit and twirl. Made that joke last time. Had to make it again. But music on walks, on drives, while sitting and doing a podcast with all these lovely people, music is almost a part of my everyday life, just like gaming is. So yeah, music. Music is my positive. Music is my 100% pure positive.
And I can respect that. Music has been a creative tool for literally hundreds of years throughout human history, and we've used it to help to define some of the greatest moments throughout time. So it's understandable you'd find some connectivity to that. And gaming, of course, is a great release of stress. It's a good medium for entertainment. So those make some sense. Thank you for sharing your perspective on that.
Mhm.
I feel like I know you a little better afterwards. Seriously, thank you. The wonderful Cody Rose has managed to come right back to us with some time. Welcome back, Cody. I'm glad to see you managed to rejoin us. So I'll kind of turn my perspective to you on this question. Okay. Positivity versus negativity when you're creating something. And I know you do a lot of artwork, you do animations, you do a fair amount of things of that nature. So I feel like you'd be a good person to kind of take the reign on this one for a moment. Where is your creativity best found? Where does it come from the best and the easiest for you? Is it on the positive spectrum or the negative? Give us a little info.
So I deal with a whole bunch of both. As a very creative person, as a person who does a lot of artwork and animation, like you were saying, um, I deal with both. I also write in some of my free time. I like to do a lot of writing, script writing, storytelling, stuff like that. So I do have moments where I sit there and I do something called depression writing. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but I just get like really in my thoughts, really in my head, and I just sit there and I write and I write and I write. I also do poetry. And a lot of my poetry is about like my personal life and personal things, but mainly like negative stuff that I make into, something that I can let out that will become like something very beautiful. Um, and that's on the negative side. But on the positive side, I'm a very I'm a person who's a lot very heavily energetic and very up in attitude and doing stuff all the time. So I'm always constantly looking for, new projects to take on or new artwork to take on. So I use that adrenaline to do my artwork and do my projects and do everything. And I just love to just like sit there. Of like some things that motivate me in a positive way is like talking to friends and talking to, other people that are around just because, that's what, motivates me.
So you're more socially driven than it is like a self-derived kind of like a willpower thing There are moments where you'll write in order as a moment of release, something you'll use as a like a coping mech or a skill. But for the most part, you are driven by the social aspect of life and creativity more so than the isolationist. Would that be correct?
Yeah, most of the time. Um, I like to work, like I said, I do like to work based off of like people motivation and stuff like that. Cause it's hard to do stuff on my own a lot of the times.
Understandable. Self motivation is one of the hardest things in the world. There are people that have been struggling with that for generations. All right, because it's literally having to build something from yourself with no other spark. But when the world provides a constant stimulus, when there's always a new muse around every corner, it's much easier to build and it's much easier to create. So I totally understand that. Highly
Yeah.
respectable too. Person that uses the world to your advantage in your creativity. That means a lot. That speaks very well of the fact that
hmm
you're paying attention to the world. Kudos. Kudos there.
I mean,
Does negativity help at all, or do you only use like your poetry as a form of release? Like when you're crafting, I should say, does any negativity cross your mind when you're building something, or have you literally worked all of that negativity out before you hit the crafting bench?
so negativity for me, um, I I like a lot of dark stuff. I love a lot of like horror and I love a lot of like dark, gory things. And for me that's very negative. Well, I guess it can be as a negative thing to other people. I don't really know what people consider negative, but I consider it negative because it's like, oh, you don't want to be thinking about, you know, all that stuff when you're trying to create. But for me, I like to use that in a lot of my storytelling, or I'm an actor, so I like to use that in my acting, especially earlier today I was at a scare acting audition and, I used my negative creativity of a character I made years ago to help me with that audition.
Solid proof that you can find the ability to create, whether it's coming from the good of yourself or the bad of yourself, because it's all coming from yourself in one way or another, right?
Yeah.
What I hope to do is slowly break that preconceived notion with where creativity is built from, why we have a perspective on positive versus negative. We'll slowly talk about that over each of the podcasts over time, but you'll understand where I'm coming from soon because I don't ring in a lot on these topics, but I will eventually. But thank you for giving perspective on that. That actually helps a little bit too, because creativity is an unusual tool because it's unique to each person, right? And no two
Yeah.
people can use the same tool. So learning how you find creativity kind of gives us a little insight into how your artwork works.
hmm
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you
Next up on
too.
my list, you're welcome. Having you is always a treat. Just like having any of my guests is always a treat. No denial. You guys are some of the most amazing people I get the honor of working with day in and day out every day of the week. And that's just not smoke coming out the fire. That is just truth. So thank you. Next up on my list for the day, Ghost. If you would be willing, tell us about how your creativity functions. Whether it's something you're doing for yourself, doing for your family, doing for your friends, for your characters. Do you find positivity to help you get through and to create? Or do you find your inspiration from the negative aspects?
For me, pretty much both through good and bad. My dad has always said that I had a vivid imagination. So when it came to like my artwork and everything like that, just like Celeste, I'm into the macabre, the creepiness. Um, when I start to draw or start to lose myself in my artwork, I've never really drawn anything good. It was more into like the darkness because I don't know why. I've just been fascinated by it. It's just something that I fucking was drawn to. So, yeah.
Is it just the darkness, or is it what the darkness represents?
You know the old saying, if you look into the darkness as long as you can, you don't know what's going to stare back at you or look at you. That's pretty much what I kind of draw a lot.
Okay. I've heard that phrase. I've also heard another one. If you stare into the darkness hard enough, eventually it stares back.
Yeah.
So I understand. I do. The macabre is literally where I've been pulling inspirations for interstellar dystopia, pulling from the ideals of a society ruined and fallen apart by humans' negligence, and then people having to try and start again, not even on their own homeland, but in the vacuum of space where resources are low and morale is even lower. So darkness is a part of existence, and you using it to help with your creativity is beautiful. You mentioned artwork. What type of art do you actually do?
Back in high school, I used to draw like a lot of Spawn pictures. I used to come up with an anti-hero called Crow, not based off the Brandon Lee's character of the Crow, but something similar to it. And I started transitioning more into more kind of like the creepypasta type styles of artwork. The one person that kind of got me more into it was this YouTuber called Mr. Creepypasta. I started listening to him, so I started losing myself more into drawings. And once I got my tattoo gun, I just started tattooing myself, and I have like a couple of like ghost Pokemon tattooed on me. I got Ghostface tattooed on me. Um, I got a Wendigo and a Plague Doctor tattooed on me, and a tattoo that says "the animal you know." It was really supposed to be the devil you know, but I had to scratch the devil and put the animal instead.
Understandable. And the fact that you kind of have the artwork like tattoos kind of makes sense. If you're an artist, you're obviously going to have an eye for tattoo work. And the fact that you give tattoos or you're able to perform, literally create them on somebody's skin just shows the level of skill with artistry that you've managed to adapt. I can appreciate good ink. I can appreciate good art myself. I may not be able to see color, but I can see a good picture. You know what I mean? In a world where it's too easy to lose the forest for the trees, some people are still able to see the singular pine amongst all the oaks. Check it for what you will. But thank you for sharing that. At some
Yeah, no
point, please
problem.
feel free to share some of your artwork on the socials. I will be sure to link it and get you some hype out there. I'd love to see some of it.
Oh, thank you. I will.
Anytime. Next up on my list for kind of tackling this general topic, Warlord of Gondor, Jack, whatever you prefer to be called. At some point, we're gonna have to pick one because it's kind of the roulette table of whatever day of the week it is, right? But
Right.
with you in creativity, because I know you do a lot. You've previously mentioned that you write and some other stuff, but getting even deeper into it, when you are creating, when you are building, when you are world building, when you are concept drafting, where does your creativity find its roots the hardest? Is it in the positive aspects of the world or in the dark, depraved, and all the other things that make things go bump in the night? Tell me, please. I implore you.
So, a lot of my works um, delve from a positive aspect, and a lot of it just comes to me. I might be in the middle of doing something, and I might think, "Oh, this would be interesting," or um, I I don't know if I would necessarily call that positive though. It might be more neutral, but even then, a lot of what my characters stem from, especially in my main series, there's a lot of heartache, tragedy, so that's a lot of the negative aspects of it. But it also is probably one of the best ways to build a character because, or at least in my personal opinion, because they could be starting out as one of the worst people or one of the most traumatically touched people to one of the strongest, if not one of the greatest people and have grown so much. In fact, um, not necessarily going to spoil anything here, but one of my characters is definitely that way, and they are my absolute pride and joy. And they started out just very bad off, and from that they became the person that they are today. And it's very empowering, honestly. So a lot of my work does it. My best work does come from tragedy. It does come from a negative aspect, but at the same time, there's a lot of inspiration that comes from that, and a lot of it is positive. If that makes sense.
It does. And do you know why that works so well? Those that have studied philosophy, I'm sure Dev may be jumping in the background here over this perspective from his studies, but all life is built from the ideal of you must understand what suffering is first to appreciate when the good of life actually hits. If good happens without sorrow to counterbalance, it has no worth, it has no value, it has no purpose in your life because you learn no lesson from it to continue you forward. But if you had extreme suffering first, any type, whether it's mental, situational, social, psychological, pre-sapial, kind of like these outward perceptions of yourself and the world around you, they're all going to have an effect. They're all going to affect you and they're going to affect the world around you. So there are moments where you have to find that balance between the tragedy you feel and the good you can find. It's too easy to get stuck in the dark. You guys sharing some of your perspectives from creativity coming from those dark places, it's easy to head into that space. It is easy to be in that space, but there are others that find it easier to create from positivity. And that is just the way that we are as people. How our lens of the world, our quote the phrase, rose colored glasses, how we view the world through them. And it's fascinating because when you start to listen and you share these perspectives with others around you, you start to hear the differences and your similarities with your fellow man and woman. Beautiful concept, isn't it? And as I share that perspective, Tyrus, Fen, bring this question to you. What, in your times of creativity, in your moments of building something, in your moments of making something, do you find your inspirations? Like, do you find it from the positivity of the world, or do you find it from the negativity that exists in the creativity? Tell me, where is your creation line? The good, the bad, the right, or the wrong? What drives you?
Well, what usually helps me create characters is mainly you, Shade, because I have a mind for character creations. I can always yeah, I have a mind for character creation, but Shade can make it better. He can iron out the details. Help me make it more grounded and all that. Uh, I, I I don't really have a particular mindset when I'm making things. Mad, happy, holding the primal urge to yell out, yeah, run out of my house, yell out at the top of my lungs because I can't find my glasses, or just chilling on my bed doing random commissions that I set back for like 2 weeks because I ran out of motivation for those specific projects. Uh, so positive or negative energy, never really affects anything I create. It all depends on what I've like already created. If I haven't like sorry, if it's something already made, I might take inspiration from them and make a new character. And with that new character, I'll use that character to make new characters, and like it just springs out into like a big old tree. And I think
But that comes from all the same root, right? That comes from the same ideal. You're using things you've already long thought of, concepts that you've held on to, and you just keep refining. This is what you're talking about. Like you build a character from a character from a character into a character into another character, referencing along the way. You are refining your process by having something as you call it your theme. There are companies, this is their brand, their product, their end goal. You're no different in this regard. You are making your product what you want and just refining the process each step until you get to the final form of what you want. There is a lot of admirable creation in that. And I would classify you as a neutral creator in that regard because you're not looking at the emotional aspect of what is the good or the bad. You're looking at what can be done on the table and what can be recycled. I greatly appreciate that. That is a fresh way to look at things. I mean, I may help you fledge out some characters, roundedness. It's just from experience, but you came up with the initial concept. You put down the initial glue and mortar to hold this thing against the wind. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, I do.
So that's just kind of how I look at it. If things in D&D is basically a team, right? The DM is the person that's kind of helping to guide the works, but you, the players, are literally bringing the life and the blood and the bones to action. It's a team effort, and it's not just D&D. That's in everything. Whether you're being voice actor, whether you're working on animation, whether you're working on a drawing, working on a shed, or even just trying to build a primitive tool, you got to start from the ground up. And sometimes that means looking outside the box. And I have to say, you have a very fresh perspective in looking outside the box, Fen. Thank you for sharing that with us. I originally was going to end our session today, like our wonderful podcast, with a thing about your favorite weapon in D&D. But after listening to everybody share some of these wonderful moments and some of these inspirations, I kind of wanted to throw a little something else in the mix. Something I've been thinking about is the course of this podcast. If we were to have a little game before we end it off, what would that game look like? And I've decided we're going to play a little Would You Rather. This may come up more than once in our games. We'll see. So, starting with each person in order. Dev, would you rather play a paladin that literally casts wild magic every time you use a spell? Or would you play a rogue that cannot steal?
Oh, jeez. Uh, I guess I'd have to pick the paladin. Because if I'm a rogue, I'm all I'm doing is stealing. I'm a thief. I'm gonna steal from people in my party. I'm gonna steal from everybody. If I can't do that, it's just I can't be a rogue. It's just not fair.
I can respect that perspective. That's funny as hell, though. Thank you.
Look, somebody's getting
I
hurt
can't
one way
steal.
or
I can't
another.
be rogue. Somebody's getting looted one way or another. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. That's a beautiful opener for Would You Rather. Cody, you're up next on this particular one. Would you rather play a character that has no backstory but infinite potential, or a character that has an infinite backstory but no potential? Did we lose you, Cody? We might be experiencing some technical difficulties. What else is new? While we're dealing with some of these technical difficulties, please remember to like, hit subscribe, share, hit that bell so you always know when we're going to have another episode of this podcast coming to you, because these things are coming in hot. We're addressing these technological drawbacks as we speak. But oh my god, that last one. If I can't be
Okay,
a
I'm here.
rogue and I can't steal, it's like as soon as I want to be a rogue, you're like, I'm here. I can do this. The question brought back to you: would you rather play a character that has no backstory but infinite potential, or a character that has a nearly infinite backstory but no potential?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Um,
I'm asking the good ones today.
so a lot of my characters are kind of just based off of me, but better. So most of my
Elaborate.
characters. Okay, me if I was okay. So like Celestia is me if I was Ice Dragon with daddy issues. Oh wait, I already have daddy issues. Me if I was Ice Dragon.
He's like
Um,
sub answer. If I was this, I like that. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So same thing with like some of my other characters, like Zahydra. She was me if I was nature druid, and then like Astoria was me if I could make potions and be witch and cool.
Understandable. So various aspects of yourself, but at hyper exaggerations, which I can respect. But in that regard,
Yeah.
where would you find that line where the character would be that has the infinite potential versus the infinite backstory? Like, which one of those two options would you be more inclined to go with? A character that has all of the backstory on the table, with no potential for combat or utility, or somebody that is literally built to be a Swiss Army knife almost, but has no engraving on it at all, like no story at all, like they just came out of a factory. You know what I mean?
See, I would have to say somebody with a backstory.
So infinite backstory, but no potential,
Yeah.
because you care about the story more, right?
Do care about the story more. I'm very into the lore um
I can
of
respect it.
characters, let's say. Um like my character Celestia, I recently finally finished her lore. Um, you know, and we'll
True.
find out more about her soon.
And we're looking forward to bringing some of those interesting secrets and even more to you in our upcoming campaigns. Oh, goodness. Thank you for sharing that Would You Rather with us. We've got another one
Yeah,
on
of
the
course.
line for our next one in line. Ghostface, if you would you rather? Would you rather play a character that's a marksman with no bullets, or would you rather play a barbarian who specializes in great swords but can never find a great sword?
So be one with no bullets but have a gun that looks pretty, or
Hmm.
be a crazy dude with no weapon but still crazy.
I mean, it's a hard decision in my perspective, but I'm curious where you find the line.
I'm picking the barbarian. Fuck the gray sword. I'm gonna go straight fist.
You're like, by the power of these great swords, one arm on each side.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's one then other Punchmon. That's great. That's classic. When you turn a kickboxer into a D&D class, that's just a paladin without a sword, I swear. Uh, that's so good. Warlord, would you rather on the table for you? And here's the fun one, okay?
Oh
Would you
boy.
rather write a story backwards from start to finish, or would you rather finish an anime from the end to the beginning?
Oh God.
I knew this
I
would be
am
the
so
question for
glad you didn't
you.
say that for me.
No.
I have been planning each of these questions for each of you for a week.
No.
Yes.
No.
Why I think I wanted to end on a game instead of the original topic. We'll
Why
move that
would
one to
you
another video.
do this?
Why
Oh
do you think I asked why would a
God.
marksman play with no bullets versus a paladin with no sword?
I'm gonna
I'm willing
answer
to
that one in this one. Jesus
that's
Christ.
that's not your luck.
Oh
Yes, these are very
no.
specifically tailored would you rather questions. I have been studying each of you, whether you're my players or you're my friends, and then some in between. So yes, these are very selected questions.
Okay, so I start at the end, right, of the book, and then work
So
my way
yep,
backwards to the beginning. Like
yes.
reading it, or
No, no,
like
no. Okay, so if you're reading the book, you have to read it backwards. So you can start from the beginning to the end if you want, but you have to read the book backwards. Or do you start the anime from the last episode all the way to the first?
ah,
I
pain,
can hear your own
agony.
hamster dying on the track as we
Oh
speak.
God.
Well, I think I want to
If
end on a
it's
game.
writing the book, yeah, I can do that. I've actually done that before. Um, it was a long time ago, but I've actually done that before because there's three different ways you can write a book. You can start from the beginning, you can actually start in the middle, or you can start at the end. And they all come out interesting ways. Anime, I am never gonna do that. So yeah, I'd rather go with the book. I'd rather write the book and write it starting at the end than do the others. So yeah, that's kind. It's still agony, but my God.
Okay, so the reason that this question came up for you, if you remember, you and I had a conversation about 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago now, about what would happen if you look at movies backwards. Remember how I said if you look carefully, Kingdom Hearts is all about a guy who starts off as a hero and turns into a memory-ridden amnesia child who wants to just play in the sand all day?
Yeah.
That is what sparked this question to you.
God.
That conversation.
No. No.
Yes, if you watch Bambi back far enough, it's all about a deer that comes back to life and tries to teach their child life lessons. Again, I'm
I
a
mean,
terrible
it's the
person. I
same
know this,
thing
but
as Finding Nemo, and they have the kid, and then all of a sudden they lose it. It's
no,
literally
no,
the
man,
same backwards and forwards.
it's Nemo finding a new therapist. That's what that whole movie is about. Okay, so oh god, all right,
Uh,
Fen, you're the next one up on this one.
I don't like this already.
Would you rather have to sing an entire song in falsetto, or would you have to try and voice act when you can't speak? Hmm.
This to me.
How can I do this to you? Because I know you.
No, thing is, I don't even know what falsetto is. You need to explain that to me.
Okay, so you know how people normally talk normal and they go into high and squeaky, like they suddenly pulled on vital body parts?
Like hiccup.
Uh, more like if I'm talking here and I suddenly pull Cletus from Hello Boss out of my back pocket, just righteous fury.
I see.
Falsetto
I
is
see.
when you're reaching those high tones that you're like into the "ooh" parts of your voice versus the normal.
Man, I can't reach high tones for a crap. You hear my voice?
Do you see why I picked this question for you?
I'd, honestly, I'd rather voice act the character with that can't speak. I'd rather
That's
do
the whole point of
grunts
the
than do
question.
falsetto. I'd rather do grunts than do falsetto. Honestly,
If you can't speak, you couldn't voice act anyway. So it's like it's right on perfect. You're on brand. Like
I
you
mean,
subconsciously
if I'm
knew.
getting paid for not speaking,
Nah, man, the ultimate story about a person being paid for not speaking has to be Rob Paulson. Man got paid 14 million, I think it was in total, for literally doing the voice of Spike in the Land Before Time movies.
Wait. I
Yeah,
think I
just
heard
the dinosaur, the little short stack with the spike tail that goes and just chewed on crap. He got paid that much money to do that.
Huh.
Like, it's fascinating what the voice actors get paid sometimes for the most asinine work.
Well,
I mean, okay, I want you to remember something. Okay,
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, the great actor that he is, was literally paid to do the voices for certain commercials and other shit.
Wait.
When he was younger, before he became an actor, he got into doing some of that. Rob Paulson himself did the voice of Mr. Opportunity from like the Mr. Opportunity and I'm Knocking. That's another
That is out
classic
of my
voice.
range.
Oh, okay. How to? If we talk about how voice actors continue to like evolve and change, all right. If you ever watch the original Blue's Clues, you know that Steve later went on to work for Team Umizoomi as Bot.
He did?
But if you, yes, he did. See, the fact that I just shared that to you blew your mind. But they're the same voice actor. Like Joe, not Steve, but Joe went on to be Bot. Steve went on to do a whole bunch of other stuff in his life, including finishing up his education. He does different podcasts and stuff all the time talking about it. So, speaking of podcasts, that was our last topic for the day and my last little go around for games. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the Knights of the Sound Table podcast, episode 2. And it has been an absolute pleasure being your host today, talking over these subjects and bringing you some entertainment along the way. When next we meet next week, if I can get my actual language to work correctly, not whatever that was. Pardon, I think I had a minor aneurysm mid-speech there. Moving on, though, we have some more beautiful topics to bring and another series of games. So, to those of you that are enjoying, please make sure you hit like and subscribe, keep track of us. And for those of you about to find us, the adventure's just starting. Farewell, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight.